Hi, my name is Miriam Hamui. I'm a yoga teacher, yoga therapist, and a somatic movement educator. We are going to be exploring a course on yoga and somatics for posture improvement. So the yoga part of this course is that we are going to take our bodies into different planes, the way we work in yoga poses. And the somatics part of this course will be about creating a felt sense of where we are in space. This somatic part is very important because when we want to have a good posture, we don't always have a mirror available or somebody to remind us. So creating a felt sense stays with us. It will remind us. So the course is divided into 5 sessions. 4 of them will be exploring 4 different principles, and in the last course we'll have an integration. For today, we will only look at the first session, the first principle, and this principle is finding our relationship to gravity. So gravity, it penetrates our bodies, and its force has a downward movement, very straight, very bold. You can imagine a waterfall like the Niagara Falls, and you can see that the water falls in straight lines. And there's another element, the counter force of gravity. When we talk about the counter force of gravity, we can see movement, we can see spirals that come up again. So returning to the waterfall, you have the water falling in straight lines, but the water that rebounds from the surface of the water, it goes upwards, but the movement is circular, spiral, very sinuous, and the spray fills the whole area. So we are going to create something similar in our bodies. We are going to learn to relax the weight of our body towards the ground, and we are going to find our bases of support that are receiving that weight and transmitting it into the ground. And then from there, we are going to create a felt sense of how the rebound or the counterforce of gravity starts to fill up our own space of the body, and it will create structure and will also create integrity. Okay, so we are going to be working with 2 elements of the body. One is the pelvis, and we are going to become acquainted of our pelvises by touching, by creating a felt sense of it. And we are going also to locate our center point of the body. So with the pelvis, we are going to start by touching it. So place your hands on your waist and let them rest. This is your iliums that you are resting your hands on. This is part of the pelvis. Now place on both sides of the iliums your fingers and touch it. Now start tracing forward the rim of your iliums. It's very easy to locate. And then you'll find 2 little protuberances. These are your hip points or assis bones. Now, if you keep on tracing downwards, you will be reaching your pubis or your pubic bone. So you will feel it quite hard here underneath. Okay. Now, bring one leg wide apart so you can start touching your sit bones. Start tracing on the back towards the sacrum. The sacrum is part of the spine, and it's also part of the pelvis as well. And again, we'll be tracing the rims of the iliums going up and towards that point where we put our hands on our waists. Now I want you to sit on one sit bone and place the other hand underneath the other sit bone. Now take out one hand and let that sit bone settle into the ground, and take out the second hand and let that sit bone settle into the ground. So this whole structure that we just touched, this is your pelvis or your pelvic bowl. And we'll be moving our pelvis in relationship to gravity, and we will explore what effects this has on the body. Another element that we will be working with is our center point of the body. And it's not the center of gravity, it's just the point which is the nearest distance to any extremity of the body. To locate it, we are going to use our pelvis. So touch your hip points or your assis bones, and now trace a line, a straight line towards the center of your belly, and touch that center with one hand, okay? And now imagine that point floating inside your pelvic bowl. Now, bring your finger away from your belly, at the same level, keep it. And as you exhale, bring your finger towards that point between your hip points and locate it inside your pelvic bowl. Again, as you inhale, bring your finger out. And as you exhale, bring your attention to that point floating inside your pelvic bowl. And now place one palm on your belly, and then the back of the other hand, place it on your lower back at the same level as your front hand, and try to locate that center point floating between your hands. Get a felt sense of it. You can close your eyes and see how this center point gives you a reference about the rest of your body. And just place your hands on your legs and remain with this sensation of your center point. So we are going to be playing with these two elements. I'm going to invite you to lie down on your backs. You can place a blanket underneath your head for comfort, and place both soles of the feet on the ground. This pose is called a constructive rest pose. Close your eyes and relax your body into the ground. Now bring your attention to your feet. Sense the part of your feet that are making contact with the ground. The heels, the mound of the big toe, the mound of the little toe, and the pads of your 10 toes. Now bring your attention to your pelvis. Become aware of your sacrum and its weight, the left side of your pelvis, the right side of the pelvis. Just get a sense of what part of your pelvis is touching the ground, what other parts are not touching, and where is the weight mostly bearing. Bring your attention to your thoracic spine, that portion of the spine that is now having contact with the ground. And now become aware of your scapulas or shoulder blades and sense how they rest on the ground. Become aware of your left scapula, your right scapula, and notice if there is any difference in the way they rest on the ground. Become aware of the left side of the back of the head, the right side. Notice your arms, your wrists, your hands, and notice the parts of the body that are touching. Now, little by little, try to establish an even feel of the weight that is dropping towards the ground. Become acquainted with that feel and see if anything changes in your body, in your breath, and stay with whatever you have found. Now, I'm going to ask you to come into sitting, And you can do this in a chair if you feel more comfortable. And if you're sitting, you can have some padding underneath your sit bones, and this will relax the spine a little bit more. So we're going to start exploring our relationship to gravity with pelvic tilt. So again, place one hand underneath one of your sit bones so you can locate it. Place the second hand. Sense with your hands the touch of your sit bones, and then take out one hand and let that sit bone drop, and take the other hand and let the second sit bone drop. The sit bones are rounded in shape. Imagine the base of a rocking chair. One point of the base of the rocking chair, that is having more contact with the ground. When it's still, there is where the rocking chair stays, there is where the weight is bared. Now we are going to experiment with this rocking chair image. Little by little, start dropping the weight towards the back portion of your sit bones. This will bring your pelvis into a posterior tilt. Now drop the weight of your body towards the front portion of your sit bones. This in turn will bring your pelvis towards anterior tilt. Now notice how the shape of your body has changed. Notice how your weight is being bared on your base of support. Notice if you find any strains in any part of your body. And now start shifting the weight of your body forward towards the front part of your sit bones. Remain soft in your body. This is very important. Look at the shape of your body now, the weight bearing. If your gaze has changed, and again, come back to center. And now we're going to be moving back and forth with pelvic tilt, dropping the weight towards the back portion of the sit bones. And when you're ready, dropping the weight towards the front portion of your sit bones. Slowly moving back and forth, and open up to sensations in your body. Notice the shifting. Notice the change in shape. And now find your neutral. Remember the point in which the base of the rocking chair can stay still. This would be like the tip of this curve-like sit bones that we have. And let the rest of your spine accommodate to this place. Your head, just open up to sensations. We are going to experiment now with shifting our center point. So we locate our center point. Remember your hip bones, and trace a line towards the center. Touch your center, and now imagine that point floating inside your pelvic bowl, and start shifting your center towards the right. Remain soft in the rest of your body and see what happens. Let your head respond to whatever is happening. And see now how the weight is bearing on your sit bones. Where do you find it most evident? Notice any strains. Even notice how your breath has changed. Shift your center towards the left. And now let the weight of your body drop there. And notice any changes and sensations. And now bring your center point in the middle. And find your best place where the body can settle with no strain. And just relax. Now bring your center point forward. So there is no pelvic tilt here, it's just moving the center. And see what happens. Open up to sensation, notice. And now bring your center point towards the back. And see what happens with your spine, with your shape, any strains, how the weight is being bared. And now find the center in your best place. Finally, we are going to move in many directions. So start moving your center with no order in particular. You can also experiment with a little bit of pelvic tilt. You can even close your eyes. Let your spine move as it wants. Let your head respond as it has to. And finally, after moving in this unorganized way, try to find your center again. Now I'm going to ask you to come into 4 points with your hands placed underneath your shoulders and your knees placed underneath your pelvis. Now your gaze is directly towards the ground, and try to find an even feel of both hands, bearing your weight towards the ground, both knees. And we'll start to experiment with pelvic tilt. So as you exhale, bring your tailbone towards the ground, like you're drawing it towards the ground, and let your spine become round. And as you inhale, let your ascis bones drop into the ground, and let the rest of the spine do what it has to do. Again, drop your tailbone towards the ground, letting the spine respond and the head respond, and stay there breathing. So see now which parts of the hands are bearing the weight the most, which parts of the knees. Notice if you find any strains. Notice how your breath is moving. Now little by little, drop the weight of your ascis bones towards the ground. And see now what shape has your body acquired. Notice the feel. Notice the weight bearing on your hands. Where do you feel it most? Now move back and forth from posterior tilt to anterior tilt, dropping the tailbone first, and then dropping your ascis bones. And as you're doing this, notice how the weight is changing in your hands, in your knees. Now come into neutral position, where we have started, and try to find an even feel of both hands and all the surface of your hands, dropping towards the ground, both knees. And notice how this even weight bearing has an effect on the rest of the space of your body. Now locate your center point and start shifting that center point towards your right. And stay there. And notice now in which parts of your hands the weight is being more bared. Notice your knees and which knee is transmitting the weight towards the ground mostly. And come back to center. And now shift your center point towards the left. And stay there. Again, notice sensations, weight bearing, strains in the body. Notice even your breath. And come back to center. Now move back and forth from right to left. Try to do it slowly. This is an exploration. Remain soft in your body and see the changes that are happening in your body. Once again, come back to neutral, to that place in which the weight is being bared evenly in both hands, in both knees, and look for sensations there. Okay, now we're going to shift our center point forward and back, so start moving it slowly forward and see where the weight is now bearing on your hands. Maybe the tips of your fingers are more present. And just move your center point towards the back and see how this changes the way the weight is being bared. Stay there a little bit and notice any strains in your body. Come back to center. And now we'll be moving back and forth, forward and back. Remember to remain soft in your body. And open up to sensation. Explore the weight shifting. Explore the shape of your body changing. And then come back to center. And notice the even feel in your whole body. Lastly, we're going to move in different directions. So no particular pattern. You can go back, forward, side to side. You can experiment with with pelvic tilt as well. Relax your head. And then come back to your neutral. Try to see if you can find it now. Use your felt sense. Now, coming to standing. Place your feet hip-width apart. The knees facing forward. Once you are there, place your pelvis on top of your feet, stack it, and your thorax on top of your pelvis, your head on top of your thorax. Maintain your knees very soft, and we're going to experiment with pelvic tilt. Place your hands on your hip points. Okay, and let the weight of your tailbone drop towards the ground as if you are tucking your tail. And stay there. Notice how you are bearing your weight on your feet, which parts feel more, less. Notice if you find any strains in your body, maybe your thighs, your lower back. And now shift your pelvis towards anterior tilt. Your hip points will be facing now towards the ground. Your tailbone will come up and stay there. Notice how the weight is now being bared on your feet. And coming back again to anterior tilt. And move back and forth in this manner. And see how the weight is shifting on your feet, how your body is changing shape. How your gaze is even moving, maybe upwards or downwards. And now find neutral. This place in which the spine can settle on top of the pelvis and rest. The head settles on top of your spine and it rests. And once you are there, drop your arms towards the sides. And just relax and stay with whatever you find. Now we are going to move from our center point. So locate your ascis bones first, and then trace a line forward. And touch that center point. And now imagine it floating inside your body. You can rest one hand on your belly and the other hand on your back. This will help. And now imagine the point floating right inside, in between your hands. Find an even feel on your feet. And now little by little shift your center point towards the right. Remain soft in your body. Notice how the body changes shape. Notice now how the weight bearing is on your feet. And come back to center slowly, so you can get a feel of the shift. And now, shift your center towards the left. And notice how this feels on your feet. Maintain your body soft, your head soft, and let it rest where it wants. And just stay there and notice sensations, the quality of your breath. Come back to center. Now move back and forth from right to left. Remain very soft in your body. And as you're shifting from one side to another, notice the shifting in sensations, weight bearing, strains. Now come back to center. Relax your arms from side to side. For this last portion, move your center in any direction. Make your knees very soft. You can also experiment with some tilt on your pelvis. You can close your eyes and change directions abruptly so you don't get accustomed to any movement in particular. And once again, try to find your center and relax your whole body towards that base of support. Close your eyes and get a sense of that even feel in the rest of the body, the counter force of gravity that's now creating space inside your body, moving upward in circular motion as you keep on releasing the weight of your body towards the ground. It happens simultaneously. This is the dialogue that we create with gravity. Now, lie down in Shavasana. Make yourself comfortable. And from now on, let the weight of your whole body drop into the ground. Let every particle of your body settle little by little towards the ground. Notice the parts of your body that are now making contact with the ground. See if now you can find a more even feel of this contact, this communication with the ground. And relax. Now very slowly, start moving your body. And when you feel ready, roll over to your right side. And relax there. Again, let every particle of your body settle into the ground. And whenever you feel ready, place both palms of your hands on the floor. And with the help of your hands, come up into sitting. You can sit on your blanket. And again, let your body settle once more into your best place. Close your eyes and stay in this happy place. Open your eyes. Bring your palms towards the center of your chest. Allow a deep inhalation. Namaste.